hosts Iowa State Saturday. Big game for both teams, trying to get bowl eligible. Certainly the Cougars have a good shot at home, you'd think, versus Oklahoma, Oklahoma State. Those are going to be tougher games. We know that BYU is going with Jake Retzlaff at quarterback for the second straight week. Here's Aaron Roderick.
Right now, we're planning on Jake starting. Keaton's improving, made a few throws today. He's healing, but he's not all the way there yet, and we're unsure if he'll be available Saturday or not.
So Jake's the guy. Second game in a row. What do you expect from him and the offense in his second start and first home game?
I'm really excited to see it. Curious, as is everybody. Is this the future moving forward? And if it is, you got to show it. And if he shows it, then everyone's in. I equate this to like Jake and Cougar Nation are dating. Last week was the first date. Wasn't a disaster. There were some good qualities, you know, worth a second date. Here comes the second date. The second date is the key date. You think about all relationships. If the second date goes good, there's a third and fourth, but the second, if that doesn't go, you know, we typically move on. This is a huge opportunity for Jake on Saturday. Keaton's getting healthier. He still wants to play. He came here to play, so we'll see how it plays out. But I just get the feeling that Saturday is huge for number 12. What do you think?
Yeah, it's big time. And wearing number 12 BYU is a good omen, right, as we talked about last week. But, yeah, I expect Jake Retzlaff to build on what he did. Certainly going 2 time zones, road, P5 is hard for your first start. There's not a lot of BYU quarterbacks that had to begin in that way. But Jake Retzlaff showed us some stuff, man. 24 of 42, 210 yards passing, 10 rushes for 26 yards. Certainly the one touchdown on the board as a rush with Aiden Robbins was all BYU put up. So certainly you want to actually score because that's the point of the game. But I expect them to build on that. The tough news here is that Iowa State's defense is really good, Dave.
Right.
This is a tough second start. Number 1 in total defense at 330 a game. Second in rush defense at 118 a game. Number 1 pass efficiency defense in the Big 12. So hopefully home cooking does him well. Like, he can be comfortable in that stadium. The crowd can get behind Jake and the offense. That the defense can support BYU. Remember, BYU's formula this year is takeaways on defense, short fields, great special teams, and then the offense is opportunistic at that point to score enough points. Now, Texas Tech was a good model, right? No. You go +5. That was exceptional for BYU to be +5 in that game, +2 fourth down stops, right? So hopefully the defense has an incredible game and then the offense can do enough because Iowa State's defense is really stinking good.
West Virginia deserves some credit, too. They played great. They might not have Iowa State's defense, but they played better than Iowa State's defense last week. They're a Hail Mary pass away from being tied with Texas for first place.
Yeah.
For a team that was picked last. So West Virginia played like superheroes and BYU didn't. Iowa State's had games where they've given up a bunch of points, but it's that same formula. There's got to be turnovers, got to be mistakes, and there's got to be execution. And one thing Blaine Fowler said on the postgame show on Saturday is everything that we've talked about that we saw from Jake was good, except for getting in the end zone. So in essence, the offense wasn't any different. It wasn't Keaton Slovis's fault that BYU wasn't scoring, just as it's not Jake Retzlaff as the sole answer to all of a sudden the end zone's wide open. It's everybody and everything, but the quarterback's got the spotlight. So where's our spotlight for Saturday night? There will be 11 guys out there. We're watching number 12. Can number 12 be the difference maker? He can if he can get in the end zone.
Let me give you some hope, too. Okay, so Iowa State's offense is eerily similar to BYU's.
Yeah.
Like, BYU actually has 3 more touchdowns this year on offense than Iowa State. Weird, right? There's only 0.7 difference in the points per game. And to win a game, Iowa State's got to get to 21 points. They're 5-1 when they get to 21. 20 or fewer, 0-4. The key is, can BYU hold Iowa State to 20 points or fewer? Like, if they do that, they're going to be in this game, which is exciting because the BYU defense, not the last 2 weeks, has shown us, and not the 3 of the last 4, they've shown us at home that they can carry BYU to a position to win. And then the offense will need to score enough. Obviously, 3 or more touchdowns are needed in this game. If you get into that kind of fight at home, that's when BYU has a chance, and then you get bowl eligible, and then you check that box. There is a chance for that to happen at home. You've got to create turnovers. You've got to play better. I see this potentially happening given the Iowa State struggles on offense. This could be a dogfight. This could be Baylor 22, where it's hard to get a yard, but you make a play here or there. And so why not on Saturday night?
Missing a couple of big down linemen, including John Nelson, that's going to hurt them. But and listening to Jay Hill after practice the other day, I expect the defense to respond to Jay Hill and to Jay Hill to call a better game. And I think I feel much more confident about the defense going into Saturday night than the offense.
Totally.
I'm not exactly sure why, because the defense,
we know
35 at Texas, 37 at West Virginia, but they're better than this. The offense, we're not quite sure.
We've seen more highs from the defense than the offense this year. So maybe that's...
They get turnovers, they do stuff.
They've done more to sort of earn that confidence.
Yeah.
Now, the BYU offense got to be confident going into this game in terms of like, okay, we can do enough to win. This is a team. BYU's played more complementary football to win this year than in the past couple of years. Some years it felt like, hey, we're just going to score a bunch. You know, the last couple of years. Like, the defense wasn't good last year. BYU scores enough at Boise State to win, and you score enough. But this year it's like, okay, the defense has to hold Iowa State sub 21. That's the magic number based on what Iowa State has done. And this offense at home can score 3 touchdowns. Now, it has scored 13 points the last 2 games. And in the last 3 road games has scored 11, 6, and 7. This game's at LaVell Edwards Stadium. This game's at night. Like those boxes that BYU loves to check. This game has chocolate cougar tails. Like it's all happening. Get bowl eligible in this game or it's going to be probably a 5-7 year. Like this is a massive opportunity.
They protect the ball at home. Those 2 Big 12 wins at home, no turnovers, while the defense went out and forced 7. That's how you beat Cincinnati.
Yep.
That's how you beat Texas Tech, no matter who the quarterback is. That's how you'll beat Iowa State on Saturday. Is it a must-win? Probably not, because the must-win is the last win where you absolutely have to.
Right.
It's a must-eat, though, because these chocolate cougar tails aren't coming back this season.
Yeah, I'd like to think that BYU can pull off an upset potentially against Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, but I do not want it to come to that, because that is going to be hard. Those are 2 teams, what, in the top 15, top 20 right now?
Yeah, if they're 5-6 going into Stillwater,
State?
yeah, that's a must-win.
Oklahoma walked out of there with a loss. Like that's a tough place to play right now. One of the better teams in the Big 12, man.
South Alabama went in there 133-7, but then Oklahoma State changed.
They gave the ball to Ollie Gordon second. Like, oh, this guy can run.
Just give him the rock.
It's pretty good.
The intrigue, though, for Saturday is huge.
Yes.
And it just continues
Very
to go. What's great about the sport? Speaking of intrigue in the sport, BYU basketball with a huge game tomorrow night against San Diego State. You look at team rankings, you look at Ken Palm, Jay Billis, other metrics, and college basketball experts. They're all pretty high on BYU men's basketball starting the season. Are we undervaluing men's hoops? Is Cougar Nation, having seen back-to-back fifth-place seasons in the WCC, they look at the standings and they see the behemoth of the Big 12 coming. So immediately, do we go down here, and is that a mistake?
I'm in wait-and-see mode. I'm going to let it kind of play out. Certainly, I'm going to start from a low expectation standpoint. If BYU surprises me, great. BYU's not healthy right now. And so even if BYU was fully healthy, some of these metrics are still too high for me. Some of these being team rankings, as you mentioned, ranked 22nd overall right now. Like, what are we doing? 21-9 record projected, 10-8 in the Big 12. Like 10 wins in the Big 12. I would take that right now. 53% chance to make the tourney. Wow. Ken Palm, 34th overall, 8th highest in the Big 12. Jay Billis has BYU 55th. Like, those are awesome. That's great. It doesn't mean jack squat right now. BYU's got to play and play well. If BYU comes out of non-conference like 10-3 and they've really taken a step forward and they get into Big 12 and they win a couple of games that maybe we weren't expecting, then I'll sort of embrace like, okay, this team is better than we thought. Awesome. But injuries happen. Ineptitude happens. The ups and downs of a season happen. Like Dawson Baker's not playing. He might be BYU's best guard.
And maybe
Ali Khalifa is still getting into shape here.
Maybe they're thinking about that as these national guys are projecting. Well, Khalifa was honorable mention all-conference last year at Charlotte. Baker averaged 16 points a game for Irvine. Veteran score to come in. Dallin Hall is back and should be a tremendous point guard. But Khalifa's not fully back in shape after the summer injury. As you mentioned, Baker's out. Hall's just starting to get back. Yep. Those are the three key guys, and then everyone else is a lot of the same. Can they play better than they did last year? Absolutely. Can they be coached better? I think they are being coached better. But I think tomorrow night is the first real, is it different?
Yeah.
And that puts a lot of pressure on the guys. Tomorrow night's game doesn't settle anything for San Diego State. You know, they get, and for BYU too. It doesn't define the season, but it does give us an idea of, okay, we got some dogs in the fight.
BYU is going to play a bunch of San Diego States this year in the Big 12. Like, this is the first of many, many big games. It's at home. It's against a rival. It's against a team you played every year of the Mark Pope era. In fact, his first home loss was San Diego State, right? But BYU's 2-2 the last 4 years against the Aztecs. It's not like BYU's been overwhelmed.
Hey, they were ahead at halftime last year in San Diego.
They were up until 6 minutes left.
Aztecs squeak it out by 7 and then go on and play in the national championship game.
San Diego State has not played well, though, in the gym to my right.
Yeah.
BYU's 30-4 in that gym. Like, against San Diego State. It is hard to come in and win. Certainly the Aztecs are a favorite coming in. ESPN BPI has BYU winning this game, like 62% chance. I'm like, that's another number where I'm like, wait, what? They're the ranked team.
Yeah.
BYU is hard to beat at home. But
it's a magical place.
It is.
And I like what Mark Pope's doing, and we spent some time with him, and his demeanor of he knows what he's up against. This is the greatest coaching challenge of his young career.
Yep.
But what does he do? Hey, guys, I want us to shoot no less than 35 three-pointers a game. Everyone
put up 43.
Like, I saw Tiki put up one the other night.
And Foose.
We want to be disruptive on defense, and we want to defend our home court. That was his message to the team. That's what he said back at the Big 12 meetings when you were back there in Kansas City. And I like that approach. Guys will loosen up and go, yeah, let's go do that. And then let's see. I
will say this. I think that the collective returners for BYU and that experience of growing old together the last couple of years, that is being undervalued. Like, BYU will be a better team than last year. It may not show itself in where they finish in the standings and their overall record because Big 12. But I so far in the exhibition and the first game, I like the direction that BYU is headed. But it is so early.
Yeah.
We cannot value very much properly at this point.
There's so many games, but BYU only has to win half of them to get a 6 seed.
Isn't that?
That's the thing.
6 might be a little high on that, but yes, just to make the tourney in any shape or form.
Yeah.
We would take a 14 seed. We wouldn't be that picky. We would take 11 in the play-in. We would not argue with any of that.
If you win half your Big 12 games, you're probably getting a 6.
Half is aggressive. 9 and 9 would be.
And I'm not saying you can,
good.
but
West Virginia went to the tourney at 7 and 11.
Yeah.
To me, if you can scratch out 7.
Some of these guys are projecting BYU to win 9 Big 12 games. And you're like, okay, that's great. Let's pick the 9.
Like, which 9 exactly?
That means 9 nights where BYU has elevated their game.
Yeah.
It's so hard for teams to do that. But every fan that bought a ticket wants to see it.
Yep.
And we want to see it tomorrow night.
If BYU wins tomorrow night, the hope is you can go 10-3 in non-conference. And then if you can go 7-11 at least in league play, 17 wins walking into Kansas City. Hopefully you get 1 win there, 18. Like, you are you are on the bubble. And that's all we can hope for this year, right? At least that. And if you make the NIT, to me, that was a positive step. You didn't last year.
Similar to football, if they're in that position, it means they stayed healthy. And they kept fighting and they kept getting better.
A bowl game is the NIT for hoops. Like, that's the equivalent in my.
And football, here we are in November, we're not healthy. And we feared that we wouldn't be. We hadn't been healthy in November in I don't know how many years of independence.
Yep.
But so here we go against a much tougher schedule. And it's like, okay, well, we got to rise up in this game. If we get this game, then we might be able to get this. Instead of, absolutely, we're playing our best football. We're as healthy as can be. We're going to win 2 of these next 3, and it's not about just getting bowl eligible. It's about which bowl. But health has so much to do with it, especially as you're building into a bigger league that's been playing before.
And we would take Independence Bowl at this point, I think. We kind of joked that we didn't want it, but we would take it right now, I think. Our question of the day is this. Aaron Roderick named Jake Retzlaff, self-proclaimed BYU Jew, the starting quarterback for Iowa State in that game. What do you expect from Retzlaff in his first home start? Mike Perkins on Instagram. I hope they let him sling it. I would rather have him throw 2 picks on 20-yard seam routes, but also throw 4 touchdowns, and we win 31-21 or lose 34-31. Rather than running zone blocking plays on 3rd and 4 and we lose 38-7. Let him play to win instead of playing to not lose.
He's got a little Zach Wilson in him, and I hope the Jets let Zach sling it, because that's what these gunslingers do. And when they're held and restricted, it just doesn't go right. I'd say absolutely get out there and let them swing it.
It's tough to balance. Like, BYU is not good when they just are sort of too aggressive and carefree. They have to take care of the ball to really win with this team.
So, when I say sling it, I don't mean throw it to the other team.
Yes, but that is part of the deal. If you're going to chuck it a ton, like, you will throw picks.
All right, Alex Beach on X. I expect more of what we saw last week, being able to throw from all angles and escaping pressure design quarterback runs. I hope he can be a little more accurate and that the rest of the offense can also help him and the team succeed.
Jay Martin's back. That helps.
He's back. I love that. I don't know if Lassiter's back or not, but I love how fast he gets rid of the football. If you're going to throw those passes behind the line of scrimmage and they get there fast, well, then you can do something with it. But if they get there slow, and we've had a little trouble with that this season, the defense is there waiting as well. But Aaron Roderick loves that play, and it seemed to be more productive last week because the ball gets out quicker.
Yes. Just you have to be able to run.
Yeah.
If you can't run, you can't do jack squat.
Hey, Aiden Robbins, I sit down with Aiden Robbins on game day. He's healthy. He's ready to run. And I think we're ready to see him go. We're ready to see him be that 1,000-yard rusher that he did last year at UNLV. He's ready.
Let's go, baby.
Let's do it.